A warning for Russia.
We would respond
On fears that civilian attacks might translate into chemical attacks. Parkland survivors spell out message in body bags.
We've turned out and voted, and now it's time for the people that we voted for to do their jobs.
On the anniversary of March for Our Lives. And Netflix going after some of its customers.
They're trying to hit profitability. They're trying to generate free cash flow.
For sharing their passwords. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Happy Friday, South Florida. I'm Christopher Gomez.
And I'm Anya Joseph. Today's Friday, March 25th, 2022.
From the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
President Biden and Poland right now, the closest the president has come to Ukraine since Russia invaded the nation and started its war. A once peaceful country has spiraled into bloody turmoil. Innocent civilians have been killed and cities and towns have been destroyed.
At the moment, there's no end to the violence inside, and the new images we're seeing coming out of Ukraine grow more and more disturbing. Take a look. Bodies strewn across a mall parking lot in Kharkiv, Ukraine, the victims of a Russian missile strike. Innocent civilians slaughtered while waiting in line for humanitarian aid outside of a post office. With more than 1,000 civilians now killed in Ukraine, President Biden is sending a new warning if Russia unleashes a chemical weapons attack.
We would respond. We would respond if he uses it. The nature of the response would depend on the nature of the use.
Now, as the world witnesses the fastest displacement crisis since World War II, the United States is vowing to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees fleeing Russian aggression.
You see children without parents that are in those camps or in refugees. You see women and husbands, men and women who are completely lost and have no nose. You see the look, that blank look on their face, that absolute feeling of, my God, where am I? What's going to happen to me?
It's the start of the war a month ago. Out of every boy and girl in the country, one out of two now has had to flee their homes. It's a number, it's a situation we've not seen before, not in living memory, you know, and it's almost impossible to deal with.
Yesterday, we hit a grim milestone. It's now been 1 month since Russia launched its lethal invasion into Ukraine. President Biden will be meeting with NATO leaders again later today.
Congress called to action this morning after a powerful message from the survivors of the Parkland school shooting. It was yesterday in Washington, D.C. on the 4th anniversary of their March for Our Lives rally. Activists spelled out the words thoughts and prayers in black bags, stuffed to look like there were bodies inside.
But yeah, we just spelled it out on the mall to show Congress the cost of these thoughts and prayers. We're demanding that Senator Schumer introduce universal background checks into the Senate so that we can bring it to a vote. We've turned out and voted, and now it's time for the people that we voted for to do their jobs.
The message was on the lawn of the Washington Mall right in front of the Capitol building.
A Central Florida family is in mourning today after a 14-year-old boy fell to his death from an amusement park ride. The boy was at the Icon Park last night in Orlando. The ride, which is called the Orlando Freefall, takes guests up 400 feet and then sends them plummeting at 70 miles per hour. He unfortunately died from his injuries at the hospital.
A maintenance man in Florida who also does security is being called a hero this morning after giving his life to keep a dangerous man away from children. It was yesterday at a mosque in Sanford, just outside Orlando. The man he confronted was armed with a shovel and had just thrown a propane tank through the window. His co-workers believe he died keeping the man away from the mosque's school and daycare. The attacker was later shot and killed by police.
New video from the Coast Guard this morning showing a save at a sea in the Florida Keys. Elian Lopez, who's from Varadero, Cuba, was apparently trying to get to the U.S. on a windsurfing board. He was rescued Wednesday, near Isla Morada. On his board with him was a life jacket, a GPS, and several cell phones. He called the Coast Guard after running out of fresh water and other supplies.
Conquering Canada, the Cats playing their first for 4 straight games against teams from the Great White North.
That's still ahead, and so's this story.
There's a delicate balancing act that they have to figure out where they keep their existing users happy and engaged. Password sharing is definitely part of that.
Netflix is sending a strong message to some of its customers, warning them to stop sharing their password. Newsbreak, we'll be right back.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Bill is a family man. He invests his money wisely and provides a good life for his children. Just one problem. He often opens emails from senders he doesn't know, and his computer is not password protected. One day, Bill checked his bank account and 94% of malware attacks originate from emails. Don't be like Bill. Take your cybersecurity seriously.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Blaming me. Nixed by Netflix, a pilot program aims at stopping the practice of putting several households on a single user account. Right now, it's just planned for 3 communities, all outside of the U.S.
But customers like myself are concerned that it may be a trend of what's to come from Netflix and the other major streaming platforms. Jeremy Roth reports.
Netflix is cracking down on password sharing. The streaming giant is forcing users who share a Netflix account but do not live in the same household to set up and pay for their own account or formally be added to the main account at an extra cost.
They're trying to hit profitability. They're trying to generate free cash flow.
Experts say the experiment is a bit of a risk as Netflix aims to show its investors that there's growth in both revenue and users.
There's a delicate balancing act that they have to figure out where they keep their existing users happy and engaged. Password sharing is definitely a part of that, but it's very clear that you're getting at least $1 more per user per quarter. And with 220 million users around the world, that could end up being substantial revenue on a monthly basis.
So far, the test feature is only being rolled out in Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru, but news of the password crackdown landed like a bomb on Twitter, with scores of users voicing frustrations and posing questions, like how Netflix plans to deal with unique family scenarios, such as college kids on their parents' accounts. Netflix says it will see how the features work in the 3 markets before potentially rolling them out to the rest of the world, and experts say depending on user reaction, other popular streaming platforms could soon follow suit.
All of them have in mind that they can probably go as high, $20 or higher, right? That over time they can just continue to escalate it because if they do a better job serving users, then they can start charging more.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Netflix's stock is down 41% this year, and the company issued a subscriber outlook in January that was weaker than expected. Experts say all those numbers have investors worried about slowing growth.
The Florida Panthers are waking up in Canada this morning after playing their first of 4 games against Canadian teams. Despite trailing 1-0 early on, the Cats battled back to beat the Montreal Canadiens 4-3. The next game for Florida is tomorrow night in Ottawa. That's all the time that we have for Newsbreak. I'm Anya Joseph.
And I'm Christopher Gomez. Have a great week and make sure you get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu. Take care.